Good afternoon, my friends. One of the most fascinating discussions surrounding the Philadelphia Eagles right now is not just what this offense can accomplish on the field in 2026, but how dramatically the pecking order may have changed after the departure of A.J. Brown. And if there is one player who appears positioned to benefit more than anyone else, it is Devonta Smith. The conversation around the Eagles offense has quickly shifted toward opportunity, and for the first time in years, Smith enters a season as the clear focal point of the passing attack. That is a major development for Eagles fans because throughout his career, Smith has consistently produced whenever the football found its way into his hands. The challenge was never whether he had the talent. The challenge was volume. Now, that obstacle may finally be gone. What makes this story even more interesting is that the Eagles are not lacking weapons. Dallas Goedert remains an important part of the offense. Saquon Barkley is expected to have a significant role both as a runner and as a receiver. The team also has new pieces such as My Lemon, Eli Sturrs, Dantavian Wicks, and Hollywood Brown. There are plenty of options for the coaching staff. Yet despite all of those names, the expectation is that Devonta Smith will be the first red, the primary target, and potentially the player who leads the entire team in receptions, receiving yards, and even touchdowns. That possibility should excite Eagles fans because Smith has already shown what he can do when given a featured role. His 2022 season demonstrated the kind of production he is capable of delivering. Now there is growing belief that he can not only reach those numbers again, but potentially surpass them. Projections around the team suggest a season that could feature between 90 and 110 receptions, well over 200 receiving yards, and a touchdown total that could climb into the upper single digits. What stands out most is the confidence surrounding his complete skill set. Smith is not a one-dimensional receiver. He can win deep. He can operate underneath. He can line up outside or in the slot. He is an elite route runner and continues to be one of the most reliable weapons on the roster. When evaluating the Eagles offense, there is a growing sense that his production floor is much higher than it has been in previous seasons. At the same time, another fascinating storyline is developing around quarterback Jalen Hurts. While some observers may focus on the statistical decline from last season, there is also a strong argument that 2026 could become a bounce-back year. Even during a season viewed by many as a step backward, Hurts still produced more than 30 total touchdowns. That level of production remains impressive, especially considering the offense often operated conservatively, and his rushing numbers fell below the standards Eagles fans had become accustomed to. The expectation now is that Hurts becomes more aggressive again. There is optimism that both his passing production and rushing production will increase. If that happens, it naturally benefits players like Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert. A more explosive passing attack could unlock another level for the entire offense. Speaking of Goedert, he remains one of the most intriguing players on the roster. While discussions about the Eagles' passing game often focus on Smith, Goedert's role near the goal line cannot be ignored. He has established himself as one of the team's most trusted targets in scoring situations, and there is growing belief that his reception totals could rise as well. With Brown no longer in the picture, additional opportunities are available, and Goedert appears positioned to take advantage. There is also curiosity surrounding several newer faces. May Lemon is generating attention as a player who could earn meaningful volume. Eli Sturrs brings intrigue at tight end. Dantavian Wicks and Hollywood Brown add depth and versatility to the receiving core. Yet entering the season, there remains uncertainty about exactly how large their roles will become. The early weeks of the year may determine which of those players emerges as a consistent contributor. What makes this entire situation so compelling is that the Eagles' offense appears to be entering a new era. For years, conversations centered around balancing touches between multiple established stars. Now the spotlight appears to be moving directly toward Devonta Smith. The opportunity is there, the expectations are rising, and if everything unfolds as projected, Eagles fans could be witnessing the most productive season of Smith's career. The biggest question now is simple. Do you believe Devonta Smith is ready to become the true centerpiece of the Eagles' passing attack in 2026? Or do you think another player will emerge as the offense's biggest surprise this season? The reason this story matters so much for Eagles fans is because it is not simply about individual statistics. It is about how the identity of the offense could evolve throughout the 2026 season. When you remove a player with the presence and production of A.J. Brown, the natural assumption is that replacing that output becomes a committee effort, but there is a growing belief that Devonta Smith may not just absorb part of that workload. He could become the engine that drives the entire passing game. That possibility becomes even more realistic when you look at how Smith has performed throughout his career whenever opportunities increased. There has never been a question about whether he can beat coverage. There has never been a question about whether he can create separation. There has never been a question about his reliability. The biggest question has always been volume. Now, for perhaps the first time since arriving in Philadelphia, he enters a season without another superstar receiver standing ahead of him in the target hierarchy, and that is why expectations are growing. If Smith truly becomes the primary option every week, opposing defenses will be forced to dedicate more attention to him than ever before. That creates another fascinating layer to this discussion. Can he thrive while carrying the responsibility of being the unquestioned number one receiver? Many around the Eagles believe the answer is yes. The confidence comes from the versatility he brings to the offense. Defenses cannot simply take away one aspect of his game. He can hurt opponents on short routes, intermediate routes, and deep shots downfield. He is capable of moving around the formation. He understands leverage. He understands spacing. And perhaps most importantly, he consistently delivers when the football comes his way. For Jalen Hurts, having a dependable target like Smith becomes even more important as the Eagles look to create a more balanced and aggressive offensive approach. Last season, the offense often struggled to find consistency through the air. There were stretches where the passing attack felt limited, conservative, and predictable. Even though Hurts still produced touchdowns at an impressive rate, there was a sense that the offense had not reached its full potential. Now there is optimism that things could be very different. A more aggressive Hurts means more opportunities for explosive plays. More opportunities for explosive plays mean more chances for Smith to showcase the full range of his abilities. If Hurts returns to the rushing production that defined many of his best seasons, while simultaneously increasing his passing efficiency, the Eagles' offense could become significantly more dangerous than many people expect. And while much of the attention focuses on the stars, the supporting cast may end up playing a crucial role in determining just how high this offense can climb. Dallas Goedert remains one of the most trusted players on the roster. His chemistry with Hurts has been built over multiple seasons, and his value in scoring situations cannot be overstated. Every defense knows he is a threat near the goal line, yet he continues to find ways to make plays. With additional targets now available in the offense, there is a legitimate opportunity for him to become even more involved. Then there is My Lemon, a player generating plenty of curiosity entering the season. Expectations are growing that he could carve out a meaningful role fairly quickly. If that happens, defenses will face another difficult challenge, because focusing entirely on Smith becomes much harder when another dynamic weapon is making plays. The same can be said for Eli Sturrs. While rookies often require time to adjust, there is interest in seeing how quickly he can become part of the offensive rotation. Dantavian Wicks also brings intrigue, while Hollywood Brown offers a different dimension with his ability to stretch the field vertically. The challenge for the coaching staff will be finding the right balance. There are only so many opportunities available each game. The offense may revolve around Smith, but determining how touches are distributed behind him could become one of the most important storylines of the entire season. And then there is Saquon Barkley. Even with all the excitement surrounding the passing attack, Barkley remains one of the most dangerous offensive weapons on the roster. There is an expectation that he will continue to play a major role, but there is also belief that his involvement as a receiver could increase. If that happens, opposing defenses will be forced to defend every inch of the field. That is what makes this Eagles offense so intriguing entering 2026. There are still questions that need answers. There are still roles that must be defined. There are still players competing to establish themselves. But there is also a clear sense that this unit has the potential to look very different from what fans watched last season. The spotlight now shines brightest on Devonta Smith. The opportunity is in front of him. The expectations are rising every day. And if he delivers the way many believe he can, this could be remembered as the season when he officially transformed from a star receiver into the centerpiece of the Philadelphia Eagles offense. Another angle that deserves attention is the conversation about value throughout the entire Eagles offense. While Devonta Smith and Jalen Hurts are attracting most of the headlines, there is a growing belief that several Philadelphia players could outperform expectations if the offense develops the way many anticipate. One of those players is Dallas Goedert. For years, Goedert has been one of the most dependable players on the roster, but his value often gets overlooked because of the attention commanded by bigger names. Yet when you examine his role inside this offense, especially near the goal line, it becomes clear why there is optimism surrounding his production. The Eagles have repeatedly trusted Goedert in critical situations. When the field shrinks in the red zone and passing windows become tighter, quarterbacks naturally look for players they trust. Goedert has earned that trust. His size, experience, and understanding of defensive coverages make him a difficult matchup, particularly in scoring situations. That is why there is a belief that he could remain one of the safest options in the offense. Even if he is not leading the team in receptions or yards, his ability to produce touchdowns gives him significant importance. In an offense that may feature a more aggressive passing attack, those opportunities could become even more frequent. At the same time, Eagles fans are eager to see how the newer pieces fit together. My Lemon is one of the most intriguing names entering the season. There is clear excitement about what he could bring to the offense. While expectations should remain realistic for any young player entering a new environment, there is reason to believe he could carve out a meaningful role. The question is not whether talent exists. The question is how quickly that talent translates to consistent production at the professional level. Eli Sturz presents another fascinating storyline. Tight ends often face a steep learning curve in professional football because of the responsibilities placed on them both as receivers and blockers. However, there is genuine curiosity about how quickly Sturz can become a contributor. If he